So far, we've been looking at the key of C, which contains no flats or sharps when composing a major scale built on its first degree. But all other major scales contain at least one or more either flats or sharps in them. Now, the most closely related keys are the keys that are a perfect fifth away. Because the quality of inverted perfect intervals are also perfect, keys a perfect fourth away are also equally close or strongly related. Fifths away are related by sharps, and fourths away are related by flats, which we're going to look at. So let's start by going a perfect fifth higher than C. A perfect fifth, as we know, is 7 semitones away. So if I start on C and count 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that brings me to G. C to G is a perfect fifth away. If we construct a major scale starting on this note using our same formula of 2 whole steps and a half step, followed by 3 whole steps and another half step, watch what happens. Here are the notes. Starting on G, we have a whole step to A, a whole step to B, then a half step to C, a whole step to D, a whole step to E, and then to go another whole step, we have to raise the F to an F sharp, and then that last half step to G. Now let's move a perfect fourth away from C, which is 5 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which brings us to F. C to F is a perfect fourth. So if we look a perfect fourth away at the major scale constructed on that note, here's what we get. Starting on F, whole tone, and then to go up a half tone from A, we have to alter that B and flatten it. Then a whole tone, and half tone. These notes that are altered with these symbols in front of them, in this case, the flat over here and the sharp in the case of G, are called accidentals. Accidentals are small changes, usually of a half step, to the normal pitch of a note. And by normal, I mean the one that corresponds with the key signature at the beginning of the staff. Right now, we have no key signature indicated, which by default is the key of C. Right now, there's nothing indicated here. This is where key signatures go. Accidentals are placed immediately before the note, as in this case here, and it affects not only this note, but any other occurrence of this note that happens in the same bar in the same octave. So if I indicate this B flat here, and I have other B flat notes indicated in this bar, I just have to write B, and this flat applies to all the Bs that occur in this bar. But if it's in a different octave, it doesn't apply, and when Bs start again in the next bar, they revert back to corresponding to the key signature, which in this case is no flats or sharps. But now that we're looking at scales and different keys, it's useful to place a key signature at the beginning of the staff over here. And that'll indicate the key of the piece. A key signature is basically a collection of every accidental note found in the scale. And it's always written immediately after the clef, but before the time signature, which is this. And we haven't looked at that, but we're going to get to that soon. The key signature tells us which notes are altered to make up the scale and the key of the piece. It makes reading music easier. Think of it as a kind of shorthand method to save having to write accidentals whenever they occur in the piece of music. An accidental applies only to the notes in the bar they're placed in, like this one over here, but a key signature dictates that this accidental will be used throughout the piece unless it's indicated otherwise. Now, key signatures usually appear at the beginning of a piece of music, but they can also occur in the middle as well to indicate that the music is going to change key. And another word for this, changing key in the middle, is called modulating. So let's look at these two scales again with the key signature inserted at the beginning after the clef instead of the accidentals in the bar. So I'm going to go to the G major. And now here we have the key signature indicated at the beginning. We have that one sharp indicated on the F line here. And this tells us now that any F that occurs in this piece of music, unless otherwise indicated, is going to be raised and sharpened. We're going to play an F sharp instead of an F natural. F natural meaning not sharp or flat. And similarly, if we go to that F major scale, here we have a key signature showing us one flat on the B line. So it means that anytime a B occurs in this piece of music, unless indicated otherwise, we're going to flatten that B. So in order to determine the most closely related keys, we keep moving the root note by intervals of either a perfect fourth or a perfect fifth. So for example, we had the G major scale here, which is a fifth up from G. If I go a fifth up from this, which is D, that'll have 2 sharps. A fifth up from that, which is A, will have 3 sharps, etc. And similarly with flats, we move in fourths. So a fourth up from F is B flat, so the key of B flat would contain 2 flats. A fourth up from that would be E flat, and that would contain 3 flats. Now there's a device known as a circle of fifths that we can use to show all this. It can also be reversed and called the circle of fourths. Let's look at what that looks like. Here we see all the key signatures. We have C, that has no flats or sharps. A fifth higher, G, which we looked at over here, has 1 sharp. D has 2 sharps. A has 3. E has 4. C flat, or B, has 5, etc. And when we go in reverse, F has 1 flat. B flat has 2 flats. E flat has 3 flats, etc. Now the circle of fifths shows the relationships among the 12 tones of the chromatic scale by organizing them by related key signatures. So all these notes together form the notes of the chromatic scale. This is just another way of organizing them based on the order of ascending key signatures. In other words, going from 1 sharp to 2 sharps to 3, or from 1 flat to 2 flats to 3 flats, etc. And notice the order that the accidentals are placed in the key signature. We have the 1 sharp here, and when there's 2 sharps, the second one is placed after the first one. And when we have 3 sharps, it's placed after the third one. And each one of these sharps is a fifth higher as we go through the circle of fifths. So they're placed like that, and similarly for the flats, the second flat is placed in front of that first flat, and the third one in front of those, etc. So that's the way of notating key signatures when you're writing them on a piece of music. Now this whole circle of fifths and circle of fourths also applies to minor keys and minor scales. We haven't touched on that yet. We're going to get to that later in these videos. We'll look at another version of this circle of fifths with the minor keys at a later time. So that's it for now. I want to close this up, and I want you to pause your video and look at the piano keyboard here and figure out, starting on any note, what the next related key will be, either 1 sharp higher or 1 flat higher. All right, so that's it. Stay tuned. See you for more next time.